rifle, pretty interesting. And we'll find out if changing the string on Bunjie the Third, the Deathstalker 420, the Scorpyd Deathstalker 420, we're going to find out if changing the string affected the speed any. I suspect it did, because when I went out and sighted it in, took a few practice shots after I did this. I'm going to mute my laptop so I can look for the comments and stuff and go through all that stuff. But when I went out and checked it, when I went out and tested it to see if it was still shooting accurately, if it was going to work or not, right? The other day, after I changed the string, when I was out to 30 yards, 40 yards, took a 50-yard shot, I actually had to turn the speed ring back up to 400. It had been around 380, you might recall. That's pretty slow in comparison to what I was expecting, right? We did those speed test results. There's a link in the description to the speed test results from the live stream we did this past weekend. And this is sort of an update to that, isn't it? So I'm here in the basement, the very cluttered basement. I'd rather be outside, but we're getting a ton of rain, and I don't have access to, I don't have a better setup for this. But I have tested it, and I'm going to flip you around here so you can see it. Kaboom. Right there's the chronograph. And if you can see it, it's not very bright in here, I understand that, but if I zoom in, you can see that Bunjie already went through there. The original Bunjie at a whopping 302. Look at that. As advertised, that crossbow, 302 is probably the most common speed I ever got out of that crossbow, but the original Bunjie, I took a shot through this chronograph just to make sure it's going to work in the basement because I've had problems with that. Little tip. I changed out all of the light bulbs down here from fluorescent light bulbs. Chronographs don't like fluorescent light bulbs. Kind of knew that, but there's a flicker that the human eye doesn't see, but the chronograph does see. It worked sometimes, wasn't working other times. By changing that out to the incandescent style halogens or whatever they are, it seems to be working fine. So we're going to take a shot today and see if it works. 302, I'm happy with that for the original Bunjie, the 2010 Excalibur Axiom. But today, we're going to be shooting Deathstalkers, right? The Deathstalker 420. We're shooting that through the chronograph to see if we can go above the, I think we were at 403 with a 100 grain field point before. You know, we were like around 382 or something like that, 386 with a 150 grain. So I have a 150 grain. I have a 100 grain. And we're going to take a poke through the chronograph here, okay? Now, one little disclaimer, I'm a little farther away from that chronograph than I want to be, but there's a wall right here, and I don't want to be hitting that with a limb when it expands or anything like that. Plus, I have the tripod there. You're getting a front row seat. So I'm going to flip you around. I'm going to cock the Scorpyd here, okay? I think we'll start with the 150 grain, just because we already have it installed. I have the Scorpyd Deathstalker. Look at that guy, huh? With that fancy new red and black string. That looks pretty sweet. I was pretty happy with that. Overall, with our ability to do that string change, I was pretty impressed. And some of you were pretty impressed too, I think. So we're going to put the cocking sled on here. And I have not shot this through the chronograph yet. Safety on. I am going to get a quick drink of water just because I have to keep my voice going here the best I can. So I have the Scorpyd Deathstalker. It is now cocked. And you can see my Death by Bunjie Junior t-shirt. The t-shirts are on. There's a little mishap with the t-shirts. T-shirts available on deathbybunjie.com. They're now up to speed. The ones you guys, a bunch of you guys ordered t-shirts. They haven't shipped yet, but they're coming. So if you are interested in t-shirts, if you've already ordered one, you'll be getting it. They will ship this weekend, I'm hoping. There was a mix-up, right? They kind of screwed up my design a little bit. It wasn't perfect. If you look at some of the videos this week, you can kind of spot the flaw, and I'm not happy with that. So I got a hold of them, and I've got all new ones coming, corrected, hopefully with the proper design. As soon as those are available, I'll send them out to you. I just didn't want to send, t-shirts that I wasn't happy off to people. I wanted to be happy with them, and I want you to be happy with them if you are seeking to become a member of the Black T-Shirt Club by buying a Death by Bunjie t-shirt. So get those orders in if you want, and we'll get the t-shirts to you. So here is Scorpyd Deathstalker Arrow, 370 grain with a 150, right? So we're well over 400 grains here with this. 150 grain broadhead right there. And I'm going to put that in here. And we're going to click it in place. Hear that snap? That was the arrow snapping in place, the lock snap, the knock snapping in place. And I have to sit back here a little bit, so I'm actually a couple yards far, back from this. And I don't like to be that far back, but that is because I don't want to hit this wall right here with the limbs when the limbs expand, and I'm shooting past the tripod too. So I'm going to flip you around so you guys can see what we're doing, and I'm going to zoom in. You get to see our freezers there, which are, some of them are a little bit empty and need to be filled up a little bit. That is what the meet and greet is for, and that's why I'm hoping to get this thing cooperating here, make sure that I'm totally in control when we go to the upcoming third ever Death by Bungie meet and greet. I'm going to sneak one in here. That's at 302 right now. We'll see if we can get that to change. Okay, went through, and it still says 302. Yeah, it did not register. So, that was what I was afraid of. It registered happily with the original Bungie, the original shot that I put through this thing. But I can tell you, the arrows going a little further with the Deathstalker than they do with that. We're going to take the sun shields off this dude and put them right here in the sled. I'm going to leave the, if I can get them in place. Wow. There we go. Get that guy out of there. Put that through there. You know, it's funny. It worked 5 minutes ago. I took a test shot, worked fine, and then a minute you try and do it on a live stream, it's not going to work. So, and we'll reset it. We'll turn it back to 0. And we'll turn it back on. We'll let it reset. Turn it back on. Hopefully it'll reset. And hopefully I can line it up good. Okay. That looks pretty good. Might have to move my chair just a touch. I can get back through here. You can hear the fan from the furnace running. While that's resetting, hopefully we'll be able to line that up. I'll see if this looks good on my end. It looks perfect on my end and you guys can see it. I'm going to recock Bungie the third. We're going to see if we can sneak one through there. I really want to know what this number is, man. This, I should have tested it. I didn't want to test it without you guys watching, so. I actually have not tested this, and I don't know what kind of numbers we're going to get. At this point, I don't even know if we're going to get numbers. All right. That is cocked, and the safety is back on. You stay right where you're at 302. Don't go anywhere. Hopefully we got enough light going through this bad boy to make this work. I'm going to sneak it in. You got to line it up directly over the chronograph. Sneak it right in there, but not too high. And it did not register. Once again. Well, if it is a light issue, all I can do is add light this way. That's all I can do. I have all the lights on down here, and that's all I can do. I'm going to wear out my new string by the time we're done here. All right, it's on FPS. We're going to see what happens. So I've got the doors open, the window open behind me. I'll let light in. But I really can't do this outside. All right, third time's a charm, maybe. If it doesn't work this time, I think we're going to have to scrap the plans because I have all the light in here I can get to that chronograph. So we're going to end up buying a light bar or some other attachment here to get that to work. We'll see. 385. Okay. Well, that is interesting. That is interesting. Excuse me, sir. $385. And it must be that it likes having these things. Got to have as much light as possible to get those sensors to work, but not too much light. You know what I mean? Now, I'll try one other thing here, and we're gonna see. I'm gonna put this on. I have a 100 grain little blunt tip there, little field point. We're going to give it another little poke. I haven't been looking at the comments. I hope you guys can hear me okay. We're going to try this, but I'm glad we got a reading out of it, and I got to tell you, we'll talk about that in just a second. And I have cocked it again. So let's see what we got here. Let me get a drink of water. We're doing the 100 grainer. All right, and this is the 100 grainer snapped in place. We were at 385 with the 150 grain. To my eye, that is a 385. And I'm going to carefully sneak one through here. Woo! That gave me the error 2. You gotta love these things. That means sensor A or sensor B didn't cooperate, didn't like what it got. Alright, so what that's going to mean is we're going to give it one more shot. But I have a feeling we already got our answer. What I'm not going to do is give this stupid chronograph what it wants. Keep farting around with it and hanging out with it all afternoon. I'm not going to do it. I got dinner to eat here, dinner to make, and I also have, I am sure that you have the same obligations. One more shot, we'll give it one more try, but I think we got our answer. Get through there. And it's on safety. We're going to slip around here. Woo! Last shot. This is our last attempt because we know we got a 385 out of it with a 150 grain broadhead, 150 grain field point. We're going to see if we can get through there, line it up, shoot directly over those sensors. 404. Okay. I am both surprised and not surprised. Interesting. So here is my thoughts. Let me get rid of that thing. I'm going to shut that for you so you can see me. You won't be able to see me if that. All right, that's better. But you can see the difference in light. That is why it did not cooperate with the chronograph. It needs a lot of light. Interesting results, okay? So here's the end, the wrap up, in my opinion. The new string, when I sighted it in, I had been sighted out to 50 yards, went out and shot in the backyard, shot again at 50 yards, had turned the speed ring on the scope up considerably. And I was thinking maybe that we had now reached our advertised speeds much closer to 420 instead of the 403 that we got the other day. Now we got 404. So really we haven't gone up faster in speed. We are at 404 with this crossbow with a 100 grain field point, set up to the factory specs. Me putting the string on didn't make any difference. A new string, I couldn't explain why a new string would make that much difference. But in fact, it didn't really make that much difference. It's a lovely string, don't get me wrong. I love this string. Looks great on here. And really the reason I changed it wasn't just to get the different color, although that was a big part of it, but also I wanted to see if I could do it, right? And make a video about it and show you that video yesterday that came out. And it was a very honest video. It was like you saw the good and bad, right? People were like, oh man, I can't believe the string, the crank, the hooks jumped off of there. Yeah, that's serious stuff. And that video hopefully gives you something to think about, right? If you're in this kind of a ball game doing something like this with your crossbow. It's just food for thought is what it is. I can't tell you one way or another whether it was a good thing or whatever. But I think it turned out great. And I feel like the next time I do it to change the string on this, I'm just going to pull it back by hand straight up the rail. Nice and flat against the rail. Pull it up by hand. Have Genevieve insert the screwdriver. Yes, we'll get a little sleeve to put on that screwdriver so it protects the limbs a little bit more, so it protects the cam a little bit more. But we'll do that, and I think I can do this thing in half the time, do a better job of it next time around. It doesn't wear strings. I didn't have to change the string. The string was wearing just fine, just as you would expect. I put a lot of shots through this crossbow, and the serving was showing a little bit of wear, but it was totally functional. So I'm going to go through the comments real quick, then I'm going to go to dinner. I'm going to let you guys go to dinner. We're at 5:17, and I figured if I got half an hour of a live stream, it ought to be good for tonight. It'll be our Crossbow Appreciation Month video for today, and I hope you're appreciating it. I was waiting about this all day long. I could not wait to shoot this thing. I'm kind of disappointed with the results, I will say that. I'm not disappointed with the crossbow. This crossbow is performing in all respects the way that I envisioned the next version of Bunjie to perform. It's performing exactly that way. I've gotten good at the cocking, the rope cocking. I didn't want to use a crank. I'm trying to delay the use of a crank as long as possible, as far into the future as possible. And I'm happy with that. I am happy with the accuracy of it, which is number one in crossbow hunting. Accuracy is number one with crossbows. So I'm very happy with that. Hello to Renner Outdoors. Oh, that's a new name. I think that's pretty cool. Well, it's not a new name. I've seen it before, but I appreciate you being here with us, Locksbog. Good to see you too. Josh Blainer. We've got some Daniel McAllister. Seeing you again. That's great. Hello to Utah. We got One-Eyed Archer. We got somebody from Utah and somebody from Pennsylvania. Look at that. Saskatchewan, Canada. Blue Boy, you win the competition for the coolest name of your hometown. I think that's pretty cool. Saskatoon. That's pretty cool. RT says I look exhausted. Has been kind of a rough week. Crossbow Appreciation Month takes a lot out of me, especially this year compared to last year. Like, we've had a lot of problems with allergies. I have my ears fill up and I get all kinds of problems with that. So, I'm dealing with that on top of everything else, that putting these videos together and everything else. But it really is pretty cool. So, Josh Blainer, freezers are low. Someone ought to do something about that. Yeah, somebody ought to do something about that. Genevieve ought to get out there this weekend to do something about that. Our third ever Death by Bunjie. That's a great joke, by the way, and I appreciate the fact that you're recognizing something. That was a line my grandfather used to use. Like, he'd come in the house and the dishes weren't done, and he'd say, look at all those dirty dishes. Somebody ought to do something about that. And, it never occurred to him for him to be the person to do something about that, of course. But it was the same thing if you're out in the shop. He's like, look at this dirty floor. Somebody ought to do something about that. He wouldn't, that's where he got that. So I say that about Josh Blainer's picking up on that. I say that about when I see bucks that have rubbed a little tree, a poor little defenseless sapling to death, right? Somebody ought to do something about that. We're going to do something about that. We're going to get on those deer. Wow, that crossbow is extremely quiet. Matthew Linus, I agree with that. This is the quietest crossbow that I've shot. I haven't shot every crossbow out there, but in my limited experience, right, this is a very quiet crossbow, and I'm very happy with that. In fact, we put those, I got a video coming out here. I tinkered with the front end of the thing a little bit. I had a friend of Bunjie send me a video to show me how to do it, and we tinkered with the front end of it with some grease and some fittings and all that stuff. That video will be up, and it took away the loudest part of it is those spring-loaded string dampeners on the front, so look for that video. I will say, keep in mind, I'm shooting in a basement, foundation around me that absorbs sound and doesn't reflect, believe it or not. It will actually keep this a little bit quieter in here, but I think any other crossbow that I shot in here is louder. And this crossbow is pretty quiet for a crossbow. But yeah, it is pretty cool. I also will say the phone is going to cap sounds. They have compressors in them, a software that is going to limit those sounds, a little limiter it's called, and that will limit those shocking sounds like the immediate burst of that crossbow. But it does that for all crossbows, and if some of them sound louder than others on a phone, that just means this one tends to be quieter. So that's pretty, it is a pretty quiet crossbow. I like that stuff. What did the chronograph cost me? That is available, Mr. Walker. I think it's Abel Walker. Thank you for that question. And I think what you want to do, check out the gear page on deathbybungie.com. If you go on there, all the gear that we use, I try to put a little blog about each one of them on there, and you can find a link to it on Amazon and find the current price for that. Not trying to sell you anything. I'm very honest on here about what I like and don't like. I even put stuff on there I don't like. Because some of the stuff that I don't like, it's because it doesn't fit my application. It might fit yours. It might work great for you. So it does depend one crossbow hunter to another. I don't know. The chronograph, you'd have to look on here for the exact price. I don't remember. I bought it years ago. I have not gotten my money's worth out of it because I've used it sparingly and because it gives me fits when I use it. But I'm learning more about it. Genevieve and I both sat down this past weekend before our live stream to make sure stuff like this didn't happen in that live stream. And we learned everything about this chronograph. So we went through it. And that's how I was able to troubleshoot it today and get it to work. Even with the Error 2, I even knew what that was. It was one of those sensors that was not reading. So check that out on deathbybungie.com, the gear page. Matthew Linus, it was too fast. Yes, that's what I was hoping for. Originally, I was hoping that it was too fast, and that's why I wouldn't recognize it. And maybe that affected it in the lighting conditions or whatever. But the reality is this thing, you can run bullets through this chronograph, so it's probably not the Scorpyd. It's probably the light in the chronograph, yeah. They make light bars, and I will invest in something like that just to make sure that this is flawless in the future, because we do them. I prefer the Pro Chrono, but they can all be a little finicky. They can be finicky, or at least this is. I'm only experienced with this one, but I know other people have had problems with them too. Should have done the same testing you did with the old tire outside. Yep. And for those of you wondering about the tire, talking about the tire video, okay, when we're talking about that tire video that we did, got some interesting stuff. I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow night showing you those broadheads. A few of you asked, when I went back through in the comments, people were like, well, what about the broadheads? Can you show us what the broadheads look like? We pulled them all out with the vice grips. I'll go through each one and show you what they look like, show you what the broadheads look like after having gone through, or at least to, the tire. Okay, we'll see how that looks. But it was kind of neat. And it actually, there was a few interesting observations about that, so we'll see. You know, you're shooting at a tire, it's not a deer, I get that. That really is not the greatest test. This was a fun live stream, that's what most of this stuff is intended to be. But you still can find little nuggets, right? These little nuggets of information that you can extract and maybe apply somewhere else that kind of give you information that will apply elsewhere in our crossbow hunting journeys. So that'll be pretty cool. I guess I need to order a new string. Thanks, Rich. Yeah. Oh, and John Barron's saying the 50 grains equals 20 feet per second. That's the high end of what you would expect for a drain on your speed, that's for sure. I don't know that you need to order a new string. It really didn't make... The coolness of this string is not there's no speed increase. That's the takeaway here. The speed is essentially the same. The difference is it looks cool, right? It's an America's best bowstring. And it was, again, I wanted to see that we could do it, that I could actually put it on there. I'm new to the world of compound crossbows. I've been shooting a certain style or brand of crossbow for a long time, as you know, and switching from one to the other, this is a challenge for me. So this is just one of those things. I'm switching from Burt Coyote Luminox, which I love, to Fire Nox this season, because the Fire Nox will work on this crossbow. So that requires me to learn some new stuff, and there's been a little struggle here and there, but I was successful in it. I've got a video done that'll be up this weekend probably about that, also probably Friday then. So I've got the videos on. I'm actually making great progress with the videos, got lots in the stockpile, but I want to talk about relevant topics, timely topics when they come up, such as, you know, this string that affects speed or change the speed. That's why we're doing this live stream now instead of those other videos for today. Got in late. Phobiarg, why did I get a new crossbow string? Again, just to change the color and just to be able to change the string. That's really all it was. I swear to you, the other string is fine. I could probably dig it out over there and and we'll show you that string or whatever. But it wasn't wearing bad at all. It was just I'm new to the world of compound crossbows. Wanted to try that. So hopefully you got your answer there. My Excalibur Assassin 420, I get 427 on a 355 grain arrow. That's pretty cool. That's where you're getting close to those advertised speeds, and you're getting those advertised speeds with what is really a lighter arrow, probably lighter than you'd want to hunt with, or that I would want to hunt with for most of the stuff that I shoot at. But yeah, that's how they get those more accurate speeds. I am using, and it's entirely possible that Scorpyd, when they get the 420 with that crossbow that year when that model came out, they were using a 350 grain arrow instead of the 370 grain Deathstalker. Entirely possible. I don't particularly like that. I've been critical of manufacturers before, right? If they're getting speeds and advertising a speed with an arrow they don't even sell you, that you can't even buy, right? Come on. That's a little sketchy. But they all do it, though. It seems like a lot of them do it. I should do a video, maybe next year after the hunting season's over, when we go back into looking at different manufacturers again. I'll do a breakdown of which manufacturers and how they get their speeds. That would be an interesting video. Do a lot of research on that and see what we can come up with. That would be pretty cool. Crossbow Hunters of Minnesota, hello. Bunjie Jr., that's correct. Genevieve's Death by Bunjie Jr. T-shirts. Even got Genevieve on here with a crossbow. And it's got the old antlers on here. If you want to check that out. This, we talked about this before, this is aspirational for dear Genevieve. She is looking for a big buck with crab claws, a big 8-point this year. So she's hoping that the antlers on the shirt will continue to motivate her out there in the woods, right? We'll see how that goes. Got to have goals. All right. Moose Junction Hunter, live stream? Yes, indeed, we're doing a live stream. I was waiting all day. I was excited about the shooting. It was kind of a letdown in the sense that we didn't get any increase in speed. But hey, the speed didn't go down, right? Plus, the crossbow continues to perform, even though I toyed with the cams and pulleys and wheelies, and I put a string on it and did all that fun stuff, right? I was able to do all that stuff, and it is still shooting well. Haha, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of that. Have fun. Glad you got to shoot Bunjie the 3rd. I can't wait to tell you take it on the first day of the crossbow. I can't wait until we go hunting either. That's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm sorry I didn't give you a heads up on the live streams. I posted a little bit earlier, but running around today. I came home today, did a thumbnail, put it on my phone, went back to work, uploaded it from my phone, and set up this live stream. Come home here and do this before dinner, that kind of stuff. Trying to get them done. Keep up speed here. Old Grumpy Hunter. For the meet and greet, I'm still on the fence as to what animal to shoot. Not really wanting to get a Hogzilla, but I need to fill the freezer. Decisions. That's what's known as a nice problem to have. I can't wait for our meet and greet this weekend. Do sign up for the Death by Bunjie free email newsletter on deathbybunjie.com for information about any future meet and greets. I get questions about that stuff periodically. Every once in a while somebody asks me about it, and then this time of year everybody's asking me about it. But generally speaking, for the next meet and greet, whenever that is, whenever that will be held, you'll get information. And this year I only extended the invitation to folks on the email newsletter. I only did that because they have limited amounts of spots available, of availability, and they can only handle a certain number of hunters, and we have already met that, right? Which is going to be awesome. That's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. That's going to be fantastic. It's so exciting to be out there, especially mid-afternoon or lunchtime or what have you, late morning, when some of the successful hunters start coming back, and then there's this buzz around the camp about, oh, this person got one, this person's coming back, and here comes another buggy, and this buggy's going over from this location to that location to move hunters from one spot to another. It's awesome, and it's just a lot of fun. It's like your entire perfect deer camp, but compressed into one day. It's like, it was a lot of fun last year, especially with a lot of hunters. We had 16 hunters or so. This year, I think we've got 20 plus, so we've got it kind of maxed out here. Tommy Smith loves the Tripan. Check in tomorrow night for the live stream. You will see some Tripan updates on how they did on the tire. We're going to look at each one of those. Deathstalker's amazing. I have the Grim Reaper edition. I kind of wish I had the Grim Reaper edition, only because that's the coolest name ever. The Deathstalker Grim Reaper. How cool is that? It's like everything you want in a crossbow name. One One-eyed archer. Oh no, what will my true glow look like? Yikes. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to look tomorrow to see about that. And again, I made the comment at the end of that live stream that that's just food for thought. You take the information you get from shooting at a tire. Is it completely and 100% seamlessly applicable to shooting at a deer with your crossbow? Of course not. But is there a little bit of information here and a little nugget of information there that you can take from that and apply down the road when making one decision or making a different decision? Will it factor in some way? Sure, I think so. There's some neat takeaways from that, and I think a follow-up live stream will help us explore that. I think that's pretty interesting. Oh, and Abel has gone and looked up the cost of that on deathbybungie.com. That's pretty cool. I appreciate it. Man, we got a lot of people in here. I'm glad to have you guys on here. One-eyed archer, John B. Yeah, it's pouring here. Good food plot rain. Right now, it's good food plot rain, but man, let's see where it goes from here. We might be in bad straits for rain. We're getting 2 to 5 inches, I heard. Oh, and for our meet and greet, Old Grumpy Hunter, I hope you like mud. Bring yourself some rubber boots if you have not packed already, because the county, Tioga County, Pennsylvania, that county is in the zone of 5 inches plus of rain between now and Thursday, right? Between now and tomorrow, where they're going to get 5 inches of rain. I hope it doesn't affect our meet and greet, but you can bet there's going to be plenty of mud for pigs to wallow in. That's what I think it was Lever Action left that comment before. That was pretty funny. So there's going to be a lot of room for that, man. It's going to rain. Hopefully it don't rain on Saturday. That's all I care about. All right. Marius, careful that at the meet and greet you don't catch something else like COVID-19. We were worried about that last year. We were worried, but we took precautions last year, and it really affected the way that we had our meet and greet last year. We couldn't get too close together, couldn't get pictures taken together really. You didn't really feel comfortable with that. We got together the night before, but did so outside. This year, I'm vaccinated. Genevieve is vaccinated to the extent that that is helpful. It's done, all right? So at this point, the way I kind of look at that is, it is what it is at this point. So, yeah, hopefully it all goes really smooth. I hope everybody is safe, not just for COVID reasons, but safe for everything under the sun here. I don't want to make sure that we are all healthy by the time we leave and have a nice, safe, fun trip. And Gregory Thomas, thanks for joining us from Oklahoma. Evan Outdoors, good to hear from you. Haven't heard from you in a little bit here. Public land hunt someday. Been looking at it pretty hard. I would like to know what the guys from the hunting public, they really know their stuff. When it comes to hunting public ground, I think they really have it down. It's in the name. But no, they've really got that figured out. I dabbled in that and continue to, and I plan to do more down the road, but we shall see. One-eyed archer knows what his broadhead will do on deer as long as it's not wearing tire armor. 100% I agree with you. Like I said, we might probably take some stuff away from that, but whatever. It isn't an answer. It's not a reason to switch broadheads, that's for sure, unless you're shooting the tires. Will Bungie sport the new Schwacker 150 grain for the meet and greet? You'll have to stay tuned, Marius, to see what broadheads we use. It does play into tomorrow's live stream, and I can tell you that it's a distinct possibility that Genevieve and I will not be using the same broadheads come meet and greet time. We're going to find out. Philip Lang, 404 is pretty fast. That apple won't even reach the deer's taste buds. He's talking about the 100-year-old apple tree. Opening day deer. That crossbow, 30 yards, maybe even as far as 35 yards, setting up that shot a little bit farther this year than in years past. But I think even at 404 feet per second, even at the 380 with the 150 grain broadhead, we're going to do some damage. We're going to get there. We're going to get there on time. No tardy arrows for this guy. Yeah, more rain, more rain. Bring your boots. Yep, that's for sure. I will have my almost knee-high snake boots again. That's pretty cool. Yeah, those will do the job. I think you're going to need them. And we're wrapping up here. I want to make sure I read the last couple comments. Jeff Test Jr., I have the killer instinct. but I don't like the fact that I have to have the speed dial at 330 on a 415 feet bow with 450 grain bolts. Those speed dials aren't always accurate, but that is, and incidentally, when I turn the speed dial back up to 400 on this crossbow, that was for 150 grain broadheads. It wasn't the 100 grain. We did break 404. We got 404 out of it with 100 grain broadhead here on the Scorpyd. But the speed ring, I was shooting 350s, and I had to change the speed ring from 380 back up to 400 to shoot it out to 30 yards. I'll be playing around with that again on Friday. We got rain today, rain tomorrow. Friday, I'm taking the whole day off. We'll be shooting in between thunder showers or what have you, and I'm going to have this thing dialed in to perfection for the meet and greet, hopefully, fingers crossed. But that 150 grain broadhead is what I was hoping to get 400 out of that. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Didn't do it. So, and then other people, One-Eyed Archer's indicating he also had the same issue with his Killer Instinct. And hopefully we'll have One-Eyed Archer. We're going to be doing some talks down the road here, and I'm thinking maybe we'll get him on Death by Bunjie here, and we'll do a video and do some shooting in the backyard. Maybe that would be fun. I'm up to it if he is. That pretty much gets us to the bottom. That Schwacker 150 is amazing on deer. I sent you the picture on Facebook Messenger. I have seen it. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love seeing pictures like that stuff. You guys, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Death by Bunjie. It's been a fun live stream. We learned a little bit, actually. We learned that what we thought from before, from the previous live stream, speed testing, was accurate. We've now done the same test indoors under different conditions and gotten the same numbers, right? So we haven't changed really anything, which is good, because if we change, that just means I'm as confident as I was before, right? The same level of confidence that we had going toward the meet and greet and going toward the upcoming crossbow seasons. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, all hail Bunjie. Thanks, you guys. That was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.